Welcome, beautiful Paris Saint Germain family. I discussed this previously in the previous Madrid-esque video I made. I'm gonna talk about Vinicius Junior. Where do I see his future heading? In this graph, we have Paris Saint Germain, Hilal, Olympique de Lyon, Marseille, Ittihad, and Chelsea. This is a French account. That's why they have Lyon and Marseille, because that makes absolutely no sense. Just from an economical standpoint, Vinnie earns more in a year than half of the Marseille squad combined or something. So, but yeah, where is Vinicius Junior heading? As you probably have known, or if you search up Vinicius Junior on this channel, you will see I've made multiple videos, or we've discussed it on the podcast, which later on has been turned into a video, discussing Vinicius Junior's future and potentially where is he heading? Where is he going to go? We've discussed Saudi Arabia as a very strong candidate. And in today's video, we'll take a look at why is Vinicius Junior going to leave Real Madrid, and who is he going to leave to? Let's start with why Vinicius Junior is going to leave Real Madrid. First thing, the Balon d'Or snub we have to discuss. My opinion, I think Vinicius Junior deserved that Balon d'Or. I definitely don't think Rodri deserved it. Should not have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6. I don't know. But Rodri never deserved to win it. And Vinicius Junior deserved to win it. I think Vinicius Junior knows that. Most players know that. Most people know that. But obviously, the Ballon d'Or is voted by journalists, and they decided to vote for Rodri. What are the reasons? I believe Vinicius Junior's issue was his PR. Because I noticed that with Dembouz. Dembouz has really great PR in the sense of he's very likable. There aren't that many people that hate Dembele. Maybe there's some people that say, no, I still consider Yamal to be a better player. But there are no people that had the dislikement or he brought off negative stuff. And that's an issue with Vinicius Junior with his self-image. He brought up a lot of negative stuff. So I think some journalists, even though they believed with their own eyes that Vinicius is better than Rodri, had a better season, they still opted for Rodri because they didn't want to vote for Vinny. And that has obviously affected Vinicius Junior. One of the most infamous tweets in Twitter football history is Vinicius tweeting, I'm going to do it 10 times better. And that just showed the emotions of Vinicius Junior when that happened. When it happened, he was like, I'm going to prove the world with an even better season. But that obviously did not happen. So that's one thing. I think the Balon d'Or snub definitely has affected Vinicius Junior. And it's understandable. I mean, if you're the best player in the world, and, you know, Vinicius Junior has fought a lot, came to Madrid, was trolled his first 2-3 seasons, clip of Benzema saying he's playing against us. And then him and Benzema start cooking. They win a UCL, but he's as the secondary man, but he takes that with pride, scoring in the Champions League final. 2 seasons again, and now he's the main man, he's the head honcho. Champions League Player of the Year, and does all of that. And obviously that definitely affected him. Second of all, obviously, the big elephant in the room, Kylian Mbappé. Kylian Mbappé, as we know, is a left forward. He's a striker, left winger. He wants to basically roam in that area. Vinicius Junior is a left winger, which means that their heat map, where they move around on the pitch, you know, is the same as each other. They move in similar areas, which means if you're Vinicius Junior, your game is automatically going to get worse because someone else is in your place. And this is not even to do with egos or their personality or their human relationship. For example, we had Neymar and Messi. Before Messi came, Neymar was more of a central 10. You had Mbappé roaming left. You had Di Maria roaming on the right. Then we signed Messi. Then Mbappé became more... Mbappé was still there. But Neymar... Messi, instead of hugging the right side as Di Maria, he also likes to come inside like Neymar. You know, with getting older, you don't have the same pace to play on the wing. So then we had Messi and Neymar in the beginning and in the center together, and it looked great. It was great individual ability from both two and everything. But I always said it on the pod, we're never going to see a 10 out of 10 Neymar and a 10 out of 10 Messi. If both played as wingers, we could see that in multiple games. But because they're playing in same regions, that means that some of the balls that maybe Messi wants, Neymar's going to get, they're not going to get a 100% effective game. I guess if that's the wording. And I think the exact same thing with Mbappe and Vinicius Junior. Then You go into their relationship. And you got to look at this from Vinicius Junior's standpoint. Vinicius Junior came to Real Madrid with a dream. And as I said, was trolled the first 2-3 years. Kept on fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting. And told you everything with the Benzema and everything. And he was okay being, I mean, anybody would be okay being a secondary to Benzema. He saw them a little bit as a role model, as a little bit of a father figure in that locker room. Then Benzema goes. Vinny's the main man. They obviously lose to City in the semi. Then Vinny again, main man. They win the Champions League with Bellingham as Vinicius, like secondary man. So Vinicius came in as a youngster, saw the stars ahead of him, fought until he became the king of Madrid, the main man. Madrid go into the market, sign Kylian Mbappé, who Vinicius Junior has known about that Madrid have been pushing for 5 years. And Vinicius Junior probably when he won that UCL was thinking in his head, why did you want Mbappé? Why did you need Mbappé when you have Vinicius Junior at Madrid? Mbappé obviously comes and is immediately, given the powers of the main man, which is understandable. I think Mbappé is a better player than Vinicius Junior. And yeah, they gave him the main man. And I don't think Vinicius lacks that add-on. Because I think Vinicius Junior can play better alongside Mbappé, but I don't think he wants to be the secondary man. And that's why I think Vinicius Junior is going to leave. It's a bit like Neymar. It's a bit like Neymar when he left Barca with the main man thing. The only difference here is Vinicius actually was the main man at Madrid and was overthrown. And I don't think he rates Mbappé that much, seeing all of the stinkers that he's dropping and stuff. Some other stuff for Vinicius is obviously the contract. That's a huge thing why he's not going to stay at Real Madrid. They've been trying to extend him for the past 2 years, I believe. But it hasn't been able to happen. Why? Once again, because of the Mbappé situationship. Vinicius Junior, I think Mbappé earns like, let's just say estimation, 400k. Vinicius makes, let's say, 300k. Vinicius wants to make as much as Mbappé. He wants at least for them to be coexisting kings instead of Mbappé. Because that's what the wage tells. The player with the highest wage usually is, the prince, the king of the team, the king of the club. And Vinicius wants to be rewarded, first of all, for everything he's done in Madrid, to be on that level. And he feels that, why does Mbappé deserve that wage? Obviously, that's because Mbappé is a top player, but he's a great negotiator as well. And he's like, I've done so much for Madrid. You got to reward me. But Madrid's point is firm. We're going to reward you, Vinny, but we're not going to give you the contract that Kylian Mbappé has because we do not put you on the same level. Because it's not even just about footballing ability. It's about marketability. Kylian Mbappé is way more marketable than Vinicius Junior. So now we have it. These are basically 2 to 3 of the main reasons why Vinicius Junior will be leaving Real Madrid. His contract in the summer will only have 1 year left in his contract. And I think the story is coming to an end of Vinicius Junior at Real Madrid. I predicted that he was going to leave last season. I thought 1 season of Mbappé was enough to kick Vinicius Junior out. But Madrid, with Xabi Alonso coming in and everything, they were like, let's give Vinny and Mbappé one more try. But I think, we're 4 months into the season and it's already proven that they should have probably sold him last summer. So now we'll take a look at the clubs. Let's go through La Liga. Is he going to do a reverse Figo and go to FC Barcelona? I don't think so. He has a very strong relationship with Real Madrid. I think he's heated at the Madrid board, maybe some of the players, Perez and so on, but he has a really great relationship with the club, the authentic club, the fans and so on. So I don't think he would want to ruin his relationship, and definitely not Atletico Madrid. Bundesliga, you got Bayern München. Bayern München is a very interesting option. They obviously just got Luis Diaz, but I think the main reason that would not happen is Vinicius Junior, despite him only having 1 year left in his contract in the summer, would still cost at least 130 million euros. And Bayern, they just don't pay that kind of money, especially after pushing 70 million for Diaz. And it's not like Diaz can play as a false nine or as a right winger. I don't see it happening. And then it's also, Vinny's, personality. I don't think maybe he goes along that much with Bayern ethics, if that's a thing. Serie A, absolutely no. Broke league, they have no money, no interest. Ligue 1, obviously no Marseille and Lyon as in this picture. I think Vinicius Junior, Paris Saint Germain, It is interesting because if you look at the storyline, imagine Vinicius Junior goes to Paris Saint Germain, the club where Mbappé failed to win his Champions League, goes there and wins the Champions League for Paris Saint Germain. That would be absolutely insane. And Mbappé wins nothing at Madrid. And we've discussed this before, and I've said my own opinion, but is it going to happen? I don't think so. I think if Paris Saint Germain splash that kind of money, we're looking for an Alvarez, a Haaland instead. But maybe it could happen. You know, Vinny is a superstar. You don't know. And this is an opportunity. 1 year left. I mean, it's basically Mbappé at PSG in reverse. Paris Saint Germain is the hunter. And Madrid is the prey. You know what? I'm going to put Paris Saint Germain as an option. Let's go to the Premier League, where the money is at. So you got City, you got Liverpool, you got Chelsea, you got United. Yeah. Vinicius is not going to go to Arsenal. No serious top player goes to Arsenal. And I don't think maybe they'll even pay that kind of money. Spurs, absolutely no. So you got the four. First one is United. I think United, in this short time until the end of the season, if they can continue improving and improving and improving, they could be a cheeky shot. Because then Vinicius Junior would have, once again, another storyline. Joining Manchester United, being the star player of them. If they can get a Champions League spot. And they will give him the money that he wants. And United, huge club marketable-wise, huge fan base. Vinicius can become a very big football player. You know, all that PR from Madrid and then gets all the Premier League United PR would be huge. But again, it depends on how well they will be until the end of the season and so on. Agent Casemiro as well. And then you got Chelsea. Chelsea still obviously doing their young project, but getting a Vinicius, an actual star. They obviously just signed Garnacho and Gittins. So I don't know. The thing is, Vinicius would want a really high wage, and I know that Chelsea don't pay the high wages for their young squad, but maybe an opportunity like Vinny they would pounce for. That's the majority of Prem clubs have the money, just more would Vinny want to join them. And then we got City, Liverpool next. Liverpool makes perfect sense. It depends, because I've seen some reports maybe Liverpool play more of a narrow 4-3-1-2 because Salah is soon going to leave and play Ittihad Isak up top. That makes sense to use both of the investments of 95 million and 150 million. And that leaves out City. Dorker's obviously performing at insane rates, but if Vinny was available, City would pounce for it. So it's like PSG is an option. Those four Prem clubs, United, Chelsea, Liverpool, City, I just mentioned, are options. The most likely out of a European club, Vinicius could go to, I'd probably say City. Madrid and City obviously have really great relationships as well. I think City is the biggest option if Vinny wants to stay in Europe. But then obviously we got to talk about the big elephant in the room once again, which is Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia has been calling for a long time. Saudi Arabia, first of all, would make Madrid really happy because they would absolutely break the football transfer record, put like 300 million bid for Vinicius. So Madrid would absolutely love that. Vinny would get insane amount of money, insane amount of power, insane amount of stuff, and he would become the first global superstar in his prime going to the Saudi Arabian League, continuing that shift. But maybe he goes there, you know, just 1-2 seasons, gets his bag, and then comes back to Europe, because then more doors will be open for Vinicius Junior. Because that's the thing, you got to think about Madrid have the rights of Vinicius. They will decide. If they don't get the money, that's the thing. They are in a risky situation. He only has 1 year left in his contract. So he's going to be a little bit stronger in negotiation. But if I had to predict, I think Vinny's going to do absolutely everything to stay in Europe. And with Real Madrid and City having great relationships, I think it makes sense. And we've seen some reports that Madrid won Haaland. A swap deal plus money. Does make sense. We'll have to wait and see. And that's been it. My full review on Vinicius Junior's situation. And yeah, I definitely think he's going to leave in the summer. And the likely option at the moment is City. Second up, Saudi Arabia. That's been it from boy PS Gent. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. And as usual, allez, Paris.